Today I will present on the topic of Islamic finance practice and the challenge of avoiding riba, focusing on the content of Indonesia and Malaysia. First, it is important to understand that riba or usury is strictly prohibited in Islam. However, despite Sharia compliance system, hidden form of riba still persists in Islamic banking practice. Second, to avoid riba, financial institutions in Indonesia and Malaysia have adopted methods like service contract ijarah and multiple sales structure by Al-Iniyah. These mechanisms are designed to generate income while adhering to Islamic law. Next, card and by Al-Iniyah Islamic laws known as card must be benevolent and not profit-driven. However, banks often include service charge through ijarah or structured sale through by Al-Iniyah to cover operation costs. In Indonesia, the ijarah model is commonly used, often combined with card of service such as healthy financial, cash management and security. In Malaysia, by Al-Iniyah is more common, allowing sale and repurchase agreement under strict Sharia condition. Next, scholar warning and fatwa. The scholar think that while these methods are formally Sharia compliant, they risk resembling conventional interest-based loans. This is where fatwa play a crucial role in guiding complaint, but they must also align with Masakin al-Sharia, which emphasize justice and social welfare.
Key points in this article highlights the importance of avoiding riba in Islamic finance as well as its implication for financial transactions. It emphasizes the need for continuous evaluation and adaptation to maintain compliance and avoid practices that may inadvertently involve riba. It focuses on the two primary models used by Islamic financial institutions to circumvent riba, which is ijarah and by al-inah, and then the author compares the application in Indonesia and Malaysia, pointing out ethical concerns in how these are implemented. Next is findings. According to the author of this article, Islamic financial institutions in Indonesia and Malaysia rely heavily on structured contracts like ijarah and by al-inah to avoid riba while still generating profits. While these contracts are technically valid under Sharia, they are often criticized for being too similar to conventional finance, raising doubts about their true compliance and ethical integrity. For methodology, the researchers use a qualitative approach, drawing on literature reviews and comparative analysis of regulatory frameworks and Sharia practices in Indonesia and Malaysia. No primary data collection like interviews or surveys was done and involved. Rather, the paper analyzes previous scholarly works and institutional practices. So the conclusion is, the authors concluded that although financial institutions have developed successful alternatives to riba, the ethical implementation of these contracts remains an ongoing concern. To uphold the true values of Islamic finance, they emphasize that more innovation and stricter Sharia oversight are needed to ensure full compliance and avoid superficial adjustments that might make conventional finance.
The strength critique that we can see here is a detailed examination of legal mechanisms. The article truly explains how Islamic financial institutions use hilah, which means the legal statements, such as ijarah means leasing, and bay al-inah means sale and buyback to the sidestep of riba. In this context, hilah refers to a legal device or strategy that technically complies with Islamic law while achieving an economic effect similar to conventional finance. While in scholarly view, hilah is accepted in certain legal schools, especially in the Shafi'i and Hanafi traditions. Its legitimacy often depends on intention, which niyah, and public interest means maslahah. Some jurists criticize excessive reliance on hilah for undermining the spirit of Sharia. Next, the references keys are fatwas and legal precedents from national Sharia councils in both countries, giving it a strong legal grounding. After that, we also focus on highlighting Sharia compliance challenges. The article does well to illustrate the tension between achieving profitability and maintaining strict Sharia compliance. It also acknowledged some methods like bay al-inah may appear formally valid but raise ethical and jurisprudential concerns. Next, we move to the weaknesses part, which contains limited critical evaluations of hilah practices and lack of economic data or case studies. For the limited critical part, the article describes that hilah techniques tends to stop short of robustly critiquing their ethical implications. More discussion is needed on whether such practices fulfill the spirit, which is the maqasid sharia of Islamic finance, or merely its legal form. While the lack of economic data, the paper would benefit from including real financial product, case studies or performances metrics to show how well these mechanisms function in practice. Data from banks using card, which is ijarah or bay al-inah models, would strengthen the empirical grounding.
Basically, in this chapter, it explains the concept of riba in Islamic law, identifying it as any predetermined or guaranteed interest on loans. The article details how Islamic financial institutions use Sharia-compliant contracts like mudarabah and musyarakah. So, there are two types of riba, which is riba an-nasiyah and riba al-fad. Riba an-nasiyah is delayed payments or deferred loans on riba. Meanwhile, riba al-fard is access in exchange transaction of similar commodities or products. So basically, in this chapter, we are also learn about the mechanism to avoid riba. The first one, we are using ijarah, which is leasing, where the situation is when loans or card are combined with service charges, which is ijarah. The second one is buy al-inah, which is it means buy back sale, a sale and purchase model to avoid direct lending with interest. This word's contribution is into Islamic legal thought. It urged academic or scholars to reconsider the morality of employing hilah. Next, it emphasizes the application of fatwa as dynamic legal tools that can be handle the complexities of modern finance nowadays. Second one is there are also implications for financial institutions. It encourages creative and innovative product design that are truly implies with Sharia goals. And it also encourages Islamic financial institutions to give equity-based models such as mudharabah and musyarakah. Last but not least, this work also has potential future research. Firstly, it's evaluating compliance with Maqasid Syariah. It creates an index for evaluating how effectively Islamic finance products fulfill objectives of Sharia. Secondly, for potential future research, studies of long-term impact. It analyzes the social and economic impacts of riba avoidance strategies over time.
For the conclusion, Sharif Hidayatul's work shed important light on how Islamic financial institutions in Malaysia and Indonesia deal with the ban on riba by using structured contract like by al-inah and ijarah. The report correctly not raising concern over the ethical acceptability of this mechanism and similar the traditional interest-based lending, even if they are legally sanctioned under Islamic jurisprudence. A major problem for the sector is shown by the impressive on legal complaints, rather the actual commitment to the moral goals of Islamic banking. Next, Islamic financial institution must abandon technician flows and avoid reliance, sharing and profit sharing model like mudarabah and musyarakah in order to perceive the actual spirit of Sharia, which is based on justice, equality and social welfare. Under the direction of Islamic and Principal Sharia, mandatory future investment in Islamic financial should give priority Maqasid-oriented financial innovations. In the end, the study urged a more genuine and morally sound implementations of Islamic financial principle in practice and policy.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.
I did a small personal loan. I heard that your bank follows Islamic interest.
Yes, we offer card-based financing with small ijarah. Which financial?
So no riba, right?
Yes, you can see this. Okay. Based on our service, just a processing fee of 5%, which we apply as part of our ijarah model.
But isn't that similar to the interest?
This is structured differently. The fee is for service rendered, not return on the loan.
Even though it's called a service fee, it feels like in disguise. Is it really Sharia compliant?
I will open the small cafe. I can handle the operation, but I need capital.
I can offer you funding through the model of partnership. You run the business, I provide capital, and we share profit fairly.
That's perfect. It's okay. It's legal.
No, please certificate. This is how Islamic finance should work. Please and be patient. I need to come, but can I put it up front? Then the bank help.
Yes, we will sell you the car for 50,000 ringgit on a deferred payment plan. Then we will buy it from you again for 45,000 ringgit on a cash today.
Wait, so I get 45,000 cash now and pay back 50,000 later?
Exactly, it is called by al-inah, fully Sharia approved.
But that sounds like I'm borrowing 45,000 and paying 5,000 extra later.
Technically, it is two separate sales. It is legal.